What's up, Concierge PTs? How you doing? Good evening to all of you guys. Give me just a second. I'm going to wait for some of you guys to roll and come on in here, and then we're going to get started tonight. So, let's see. All right. I can't see who's coming on here yet. I hate when Facebook Live does this. It doesn't allow you to see. Well, whoever you guys are, let me know in the comments if you're coming on here. I'd love to know. There we go. I'd love to know who's coming on live. Benji, what's up, man? How are you doing? Good to see you on here. Guys, thank you for coming on live. So I'm going to talk about actually 4 lessons that all of us can utilize to push us through these times that we're all going through right now. 4 really, really big lessons that I hope you all take to heart, as I've taken to heart during these times as well. All right. So, thank you for coming on live. For those of you that are watching live, give me a hashtag live. For those of you that are watching on the replay, give me a hashtag replay. But for those of you also that are brand new to the group, because we had a lot of people join this week, my name is Josh Payne. I am the owner of Concierge PT Business Coaching. I'm the co-owner of Mobile Concierge Coaching Academy. and the co-host of the Mobile PT podcast. But I wanted to come on here and tell you guys 4 different lessons that are helping me through these times. Because honestly, it's challenging times. It really is. I think we all know that, and we're all affected in some way, shape, or form. And so, these 4 lessons have really helped me to be okay with what's going on and actually be at peace with everything that's going on. All right, so number 1, we're not, just as we never waste any time, I'm going to dive right into these. All right, number 1. We are all writing a book every single day of our lives. And for those of you that read, if any of you read fiction books, or if you're a big movie buff, let me know in the comments. Do you like movies or do you like books more? Do you like, would you rather read a fantasy novel or would you rather watch a fantasy movie like Marvel or something like that? Let me know in the comments. Every single one of those movies or those novels, they go through a series of events. And the main character always has to go through some type of suffering in order to grow. That's the base of any good story, is the lead character needs to go through some type of suffering in order to grow. And so if we can look at this and say, all right, we're all writing a book of our own lives. We're all living it. And the main character, us, has to suffer in order to grow. Has to suffer in some way in order to grow at all. So why I started off this with number 1, because if you're going through financial suffering right now, if you're going through suffering because you lost your job right now, if you're going through something difficult right now, I want you all to understand that it's just part of your story. And that any main character, any lead character in any story must suffer in order to grow. And we are no different. If we don't suffer, we don't grow. If we do not suffer, we do not grow. And so during a time like this, for me, it gives me a sense of peace of knowing, all right, this is my life story being put out on paper. What do I want that story to say? And then also taking comfort in the fact that in order to grow, you must suffer. Any lead character in any Marvel movie, any Marvel comic, any fantasy novel, and Harry Potter or whatever it may be, any one of those books or movies, the lead characters must suffer in order to grow. It's in the Bible as well, right? A lot of people had to suffer in order to grow. So it's everywhere we look. Every story that we've ever looked at, the lead character has to suffer in order to grow. And so I hope that gives you some peace in this time to say, all right, look, I know that I'm going through some financial rough spots. I know that maybe I lost my job. I know that this is going on, or I know that this is going on. But in order for any of us to grow, the lead character must go through suffering before they go to growth. So I hope that you can take some solace in that in this period right now. Number 2, for all of you with your own businesses in here, I want you to really, really understand this, and something that's really helped me during this time as well, is you must endure long enough to get noticed. If you're watching this, like I want you to actually write that down. As a business, you must endure long enough to get noticed. You've got to endure long enough to get noticed. And so if you're trying to figure out, well, how am I going to make it through this time? How am I going to grow my business? I think the best possible way that you can be thinking is, how do I grow my business long term? Not in the short term, but how do I grow it long term? Because all I need to do as a business is I need to endure long enough in order to get noticed. And if you do, you will get noticed as a business. You will. You absolutely will get noticed as a business if you actually endure long enough. But there's going to be a lot of businesses that this pandemic is going to be the downfall for. Because ultimately, and this may sound harsh, guys, but ultimately, I feel like it's going to reveal the business owners that are able to get through this, and that are mentally tough enough to get through this, and that are strategic enough to get through this. And it's also going to reveal the businesses that have been set up correctly to endure something like this. But all you need to remember, no matter where you are as a business owner, is you must endure long enough to get noticed. And if you've got to be willing to do that in order to have a successful business. So this is just a period. Like, this is going to pass at some point. This is just a period that all of our businesses have to get through. But if you can understand that you just need to endure long enough to get noticed, you should be able to say, all right, this is just a period. This is just a time that I have to get through as a business, but I need to endure and I need to get through it in order to ever be noticed and have a thriving business. Number 3. This one's getting really real, really real. Life has a funny way of testing if we really want what we say we want. I'll say that again. Life has a really funny way of testing if what we want is really what we want. So up until this time, I think probably a lot of us have been saying things like, I wish I had more time. I wish I had more time. Well, because of this pandemic, we've all been given more time. Every single one of us has been given more time. Mike, thank you for joining, man. March, thank you for joining as well. But all of us have been granted the gift of more time. So I've been asking myself the question a lot of like, well, what the heck am I going to do with it? And I feel like I need to share this, even though there's only a few people on this live. But I need to share this because in hopes that just at least one of you is impacted in the way that this impacted me. But someone that my wife and I know told us this the other day, and it rang so true. She said, do you realize that anyone with kids, young kids, which we have a 15-month-old kid son named Hudson. And so maybe not him because he's very young, but for any of you that have kids, what our friend said to us was this, is do you realize that these young kids are going to remember this time for the rest of their lives? And for a lot of them, they're going to remember the COVID-19 pandemic as possibly some of the best times of their life. Because they're not stressing about it like we are as adults. the kids just get their parents home. The kids just get more time to play or bug us parents, I guess, either way. But they're probably going to look at this time as and they're going to be able to look back when they're older in their 20s, 30s, 40s and say that COVID-19 pandemic was one of the best memories of my childhood. That one hit me hard. And again, I realize that our 1.5-year-old, maybe he won't remember this. But if you think about it, like a kid that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in that range, they're going to remember this time for the rest of their lives because their parents have just been granted the gift of time. And so life has a funny way of testing if we really want what we say we want, is number 3. And I just think that's so true right now. Like lots of us have been asking for more time and wanting more time and wishing for more time, maybe even praying for more time, but yet we've been given it. So what are we all going to do with this the more time that we have on our hands? And that's the question that I've been asking myself as well. I'm not just asking you guys that. And then number 4 finally is this. The more that you make sure that someone else's life is okay, the more that your life is going to be okay. Or I'll say this because I don't want to hide the fact that I am a Christian, and if you don't want to hear this part, then don't worry about it. You can always exit off of the live. But this is what I believe as well: is the more that you make someone else's life okay, the more God will make your life okay. And so I'll say that again. The more that you make someone else's life okay, the more that God is going to make your life okay. I also believe that during this time, it's never been a better time for any of us to step up and help anybody in our community or anyone close to us. It's a time where we're all on a level playing field where we all can help out each other. And so I've been reminding myself of that exact question, that exact statement as well this week, and asking myself these questions of the more that you make someone else's life okay, or the more that you make someone else's life better, the more God will make sure that your life is better. Or whatever higher power that you want to replace with that. But that's the rule of reciprocity, right? The rule of reciprocity is what you give, you will eventually receive. And I think that's really true in a time like this. So I've had a lot of business owners get on the phone with me recently and tell me that they feel like there's nothing they can do right now. That there's nothing they can be doing to grow their business, and that there's just simply nothing that they can be doing, and they feel stuck and dead in the sand and dead in the water. And what I've told every single one of them, that is simply not true. And there's actually more that you can be doing right now than you've ever been given the opportunity to do right now in this time. I've had 2 of my 5 coaching calls today tell me that they've done virtual networking groups. I've had 2 of my 5 coaching calls also tell me that they've done virtual presentations to those networking groups. A lot of our students that we're working with are reaching out to other business owners in the area and throwing a life jacket out to them and saying, "Hey, brother, you doing okay? How you doing? Is there anything that I can do? Can I share your stuff on social media? What can we do to help you?" Or you've got the simple ability, instead of, going to pick up dinner from Walmart carryout or Tom Thumb carryout, getting some new, why don't you go pay for some carryout with a local restaurant or a local business that you can support, and just as you're picking that up, thank that person and say, "Hey, we're rooting for you. I'm here for you. I'm a local business owner as well. I'm here for you. You ever need anything, please give me a call. My name is Josh." All of us have the ability to do more right now and reach out a helping hand to so many different people. If you're telling yourself that there's nothing that you can do right now in your business to grow it, you are dead wrong. Dead wrong. There's so much more opportunity that you can be doing right now in your business. There's more opportunity right now than ever to lend a helping hand, to help other people, to show up as a leader, even if you didn't even feel like you were a leader before. You have the ability to step up as a leader right now. I feel like more people need to hear this message. So Amy, Josh, Karen, Mike, thank you all for joining. If you guys wouldn't mind, would you mind putting a comment below so that more people can see this in this group? Would you mind also maybe tagging some people in this group as well? Because these are the 4 lessons that I've been working on and I've been reminding myself this week, and because I need to be reminded of it too. But I wanted to come on here and remind all of you all of these 4 lessons as well. So let's recap them. Number 1, we are writing a book every single day of our lives. And if you guys read or you watch movies or anything like that, every single movie or good book generally has an attractive character or a lead character, right? In order to grow, which is usually what happens to them throughout that movie or throughout that book, they must suffer first. They must suffer before they grow. It's spoken about in any fantasy novel. It's spoken about in the Bible. It's spoken about in movies all over the place. Every single movie, especially like those superhero movies, they tend to have the same plot line. The actual main character must suffer before they actually grow. He or she must suffer before they grow. Falling in love with the process will turn you into a machine. You must fall in love with the process and realize that we are all writing the story of our lives right now. What do you want that story to say during the COVID-19 pandemic? Number 2, if you are a business right now and you feel that you are struggling, which I think most businesses are, it's okay, but I want you to remember this line and I want you to write down this line. You must endure long enough to get noticed. You must endure long enough to get noticed. This is so important for any business, not only right now, but also even more so during this pandemic. Is if you're a small business, you need to endure long enough to get noticed. And this is what I'm gonna have to tell you is all of us are suffering, all of us are struggling that are small business owners. You've got to endure long enough to get noticed. You're going to have to endure this thing. You're going to have to persevere and get through this thing, because the only way that you can come out on the other side with a stronger business is if you endure this challenging time, because you must endure long enough in business to get noticed. I think the crazy stat is like 90% of businesses fail within 2 years, and it's because they do not have what it takes to endure long enough to get noticed, whether that's financially or, in a lot of cases, it's this. They don't have the mindset to endure long enough to get noticed. It's 1 year, 2 years, and the business isn't where they want to be. And we're calling it quits. You have to endure long enough to get noticed. And any true entrepreneur, any true business owner has a story of something that they've had to get through to get out on the other side and flourish and prosper. This is that time for every single one of you. This is that time. You need to endure long enough to get noticed, and this is the time that you're being tested right now to see if you have got the chops to get through it. And I guarantee you, every single one of you have the chops to get through it. You just need to endure and get through it. Number 3, super important to recognize, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit again. Life has a funny way of testing if we really want what we say we want. Life has a funny way of testing if we really want what we truly say that we want. Lots of us have probably up to this pandemic wishing for more time, wishing for more free time, wishing for a vacation, wishing for something in relation to time. And we've just been granted that gift. But I feel like because of the polarity of the situation and the anxiety of the situation, I think a lot of us aren't allowing ourselves to enjoy that time because of financial struggles. But we've all just been granted that time. What are you going to do with it? I almost started getting, I got very emotional when a friend of ours told us this the other day. And she said, Josh and Shelby, this is something really important to realize, is that if you have a child that's going through this time right now, if you have a child going through this time, that child is going to remember this pandemic, this COVID-19 pandemic, for the rest of their life. But get this, this is the second part that she said. That really, this is what caused me to get teary-eyed. Well, she said this, she said, do you realize that most children that are going through this pandemic are going to remember this for the rest of their lives, but they're also going to remember the COVID-19 pandemic as some of the best times of their life. Isn't that crazy? Mom's home, dad's home. We got all the time in the world. Our families together. We're eating dinner together. We're playing board games together. We're watching movies together. We're annoying the crap out of mom and dad. The children during this time are going to remember this time the rest of their lives, and these are probably going to be some of the most positive and amazing memories that they've ever had for the rest of their life because of the gift of time that every single one of us has received. Please do not let your financial struggles blind you of the gift that you have just received. Please do not let your financial struggles blind you of the gift that you have just currently received. Because here's the bottom line. I know there's a lot of people struggling financially, and I am not just brushing that off. Here's what I do know, though. What I do know is that all of the people in this group are physical therapists or therapists in general. And I do know that we're probably more privileged than other people. And the other thing that I know is that every single one of us are going to get through this, and we're all going to be okay. I know that's really, really hard to look at right now, and it's really hard to truly believe that, but I believe that full-heartedly. Like, all of us are going to be okay. All of us are going to be okay. So you might as well enjoy some of the time that you've just been gifted, instead of utilizing that time by sitting around and stressing about COVID-19. Let this time be the time that you look back and you remember and say, oh my gosh, I love that time. I actually was able to do more stuff with my kids. I was able to go for more walks. I was able to enjoy myself more. I was able to pick up a new hobby. I was able to do this or do that. Or that was the start of me getting super fit because I actually had the time to do so. Like, how are you using this time that we've just been gifted? Do not let your financial struggles blind you of the gift that you've just received, or that we have just received. Then number 4, the more that you can make sure that someone else's life is going well, the more that your life is going to be blessed in the same way. I'm going to say this another way. The more that you make someone else's life good, the more that God will make sure that your life is good. I truly believe that. The more that you make someone else's life good, the more that your life is going to be good. So, some of the examples that I gave, I know I'm recapping all of these in pretty much the same fashion, but I think they're very important points to remember, that these 4 points have helped me so much get through this past month. Like, these 4 things I have written down literally right here as notes, but also on my desk to remind myself, because I'm not impervious to this stuff. Like, I have to remind myself every single day to not get down about what's going on right now. But number 4 is this: the more that you make sure someone else's life is going good, the more that your life is going to be good. Utilize this time to lend a hand, to throw a life jacket, to throw a life preserver out to somebody else in your community. Maybe it's another small business owner. Maybe it's somebody else that's struggling. How can you help right now? How can you help by throwing out a rope and saying, hey, I got you, man? For all of you small business owners out there, like, how can you be helping other business owners in the community? Like I said earlier, if you're saying that you can't do anything right now, that's full of crap. There's so many people that need help right now. There's so many businesses that need help right now. And you have the ability to actually network like a beast right now. You have the ability to network like a beast because you can even go get some takeout tonight from the local restaurant. And as you're getting that carry out, say to that owner, that small business owner or that small restaurant owner, say thank you for what you're doing. And hey, guess what? I'm Josh. I'm the owner of Freedom Physical Therapy in the area. Like, man, if you ever need anything, just call me. Just call me. Like, is there anything that I can do to spread the word for your business? Is there anything that I can do to get more people in your doors? Do you want me to share stuff on social media? What do you want me to do? I just want to make sure that you get through this, man. Every single one of you has the ability to do that. All of us have the ability to do that. And I'm reminding myself of this every single day too. I know I'm preaching at you, but I'm actually preaching with you right now because I need this just as much as all of you guys need this. That's it. That's the stuff that's been swarming around in my mind. Number one, you must suffer in order to grow. Number two, you need to endure long enough to get noticed as a business. Number three, number three is life has a funny way of testing if we really want what we say we want. If you've been saying up to this point that you want more time, you've just been granted the gift of time. Do not let your financial struggles get in the way of and blind you from the gift that you've just received. Go utilize this time in a great way and do the things that you love doing. Number four, the more that you make sure that someone else's life is good, the more that your life will be good. Love you guys. We're all going to get through this. Like every single one of us are going to get through this. I just feel like I felt like I needed to come on here and share those 4 points with you guys because it's so important. It's so important to remember these times when we're in chaotic times and we're in frantic times. It can blind us from a lot of the blessings that are literally right in front of every single one of us right now in the here and now. Don't let that happen. Because the bottom line is, I'm going to say this again, I think all of us in this group are probably in a position that's probably a little bit better than other people in our country. Every single one of us are going to be able to get through this. Whether you have to apply for unemployment, whether you're a small business and you have to apply for the $10,000 grant that was just put out there. It doesn't matter. Don't feel bad about yourself if you have to do those things. If you have to do those things, you've got to do what you got to do to endure. But do not forget about the gift that we've just been given of time and how you can utilize that in a great way to come out of this stronger and a better person and more connected to your loved ones than ever. Love you guys. Have a great night. See ya.